Stand under unforgiving bathroom light after a week of bad sleep, rushed meals, deadline stress, and too much sun, and your face will tell on you before your mouth does. Your eyes look smaller, the skin under them looks fuller, your color seems flatter, and some line near your mouth feels borrowed from older you. That matters for photos, first impressions, dates, and job interviews, but also for deeper reasons because the face often mirrors inflammation, hormone shifts, blood flow, and recovery. The strange part is that your face is not a judge because it acts more like a running ledger. By the end, you will be able to tell which changes are penciled in and likely to fade, which ones get carved in by repetition, and why the mirror sometimes catches habits you thought were invisible. Some marks in that ledger clear by morning, while others build quietly like compound interest. Think about two photos of yourself, one after several calm nights with real meals and daylight walks, and one after a week of alarms, takeout, and too little sleep. Same face, different signal. In controlled experiments, people who sleep less are judged as more tired, less healthy, and less alert, even when nothing dramatic happened. That is because the face reacts fast to fluid balance, blood vessel tone, eye irritation, and the way skin reflects light. One rough night can make you look off, and a rough season can make that off look familiar. The quickest giveaway sits around the eyes because that skin is thin, delicate, and honest. If you want a fast test, picture your face after a great morning, then picture it after staring at a bright screen past midnight for several nights. You can almost feel the difference before you name it. Puffy lids, darker shadows, and a duller surface are not just vanity drama. They are what happens when sleep debt, irritation, and fluid shifts nudge a visible part of the face. The good news is that this part of the ledger is often written in pencil. Recovery can show up fast when sleep, routine, and a little stability improve together. Stress is trickier because it writes in smaller, slower, more stubborn handwriting. Picture a student walking out of a library at sunrise after a week of coffee, vending machine dinners, and 4-hour nights. Nothing about that person has changed morally, yet the face looks tighter, the under eyes look heavier, the skin seems angrier, and every small blemish suddenly looks louder. Stress hormones can increase oil production in some people, worsen inflammation, and slow the barrier repair that keeps skin calm and smooth. Researchers see slower wound healing and more irritation when stress stays high. So when people say stress shows on your face, they are not speaking poetically. They are describing biology with a decent sense of timing. But here's the first correction that matters if you do not want the mirror to mislead you. Looking tired is not the same as being permanently aged, and not every breakout or shadow is a character flaw written on skin. Genetics, allergies, hormones, medication, illness, and plain bone structure all shape the face too. The mirror offers clues, not verdicts, but repetition matters once habits stop being occasional. When stress and short sleep stop being occasional weather and become the climate, the ledger stops using pencil so often. That is where sunlight enters the story, because sunlight is the great engraver. If you want to see lifestyle become architecture, look at skin that has spent years facing the same window, windshield, beach, or trail. Dermatologists have long known that chronic ultraviolet exposure is a major outside force behind visible skin aging. Collagen frays, elastin loses its spring, pigment gets patchier, tiny vessels show up, and the surface starts to look less like fresh fabric and more like paper folded too many times. The misconception is that this only happens to people roasting on vacation. Daily light does plenty of work on its own. The short walk at noon, the driver's side window, and the habit of skipping sunscreen in ordinary weather all count toward the total. Try a quick mental scan of summers past. Which part of your face always catches the light first? And which side do you instinctively turn toward the window when you sit down somewhere bright? Most people know the answer, even before they start explaining it to themselves. The face remembers repetition better than the mind does. This is why people can look suddenly older after a season outdoors and then blame a single bad photo. The photo did not do it because the ledger was simply ready to reveal it. And sunlight is not working alone because smoke and alcohol can tug on the same repair systems from a different angle. Smoking leaves one of the clearest signatures because it squeezes blood vessels, ramps up oxidative damage, and speeds the breakdown of the fibers that keep skin firm. Large observational studies link smoking with earlier and deeper wrinkling, especially around the mouth and eyes where movement already gives lines a place to settle. Alcohol is a little more complicated. One late night can bring temporary puffiness, redness, dryness, and the dullness that comes from poor sleep wearing a dehydration costume. Chronic heavy drinking can keep redness hanging around longer, especially in people prone to flushing or rosacea. None of this means the face is a morality play. It means tissue repair follows chemistry, and chemistry keeps score whether the habit feels glamorous, stressful, social, or routine. Food shows up on the face less like instant punishment and more like a negotiation between hormones, inflammation, and water balance. If you have ever woken up after a salty dinner and thought your face looked puffier, that is not imagination. If you are prone to acne, evidence suggests that diets that spike blood sugar can worsen breakouts for some people, while steadier eating patterns tend to calm the chaos. The important nuance is that there is no single cursed ingredient that brands everyone the same way. One dessert does not carve a wrinkle, and one greasy meal does not set your destiny. But months and years of metabolic strain can slowly change texture, color, and inflammation. The most hopeful part of this whole story is that the ledger is always updating. Skin is living tissue, not carved stone, so better sleep can brighten the eyes within days and less alcohol can calm puffiness and redness. Sun protection will not send you back in time, but it can slow the engraving dramatically, and smoking cessation gives repair a chance to catch up instead of fighting with fresh damage every day. This is why dermatologists sound almost boring when they repeat the same advice. The boring habits work because they keep collagen intact, inflammation lower, and recovery possible. Glamour likes grand gestures, but faces respond to repetition, which leads to a deeper twist. That old story about a portrait soaking up the damage had it backward. In real life, the portrait is your face, and it updates in public. Yet even then, it is still not a perfect witness when genes, allergies, illness, and anatomy crowd the frame. Some people get little sun and still pigment easily, some sleep well and look tired because of allergies, anatomy, or illness, and some live hard and show it late. So the point is not to stare at strangers and pretend you can read their character from pores and shadows. The point is to understand that the face is a meeting point between lifestyle, genetics, environment, and time, with the mirror catching only part of the negotiation. A better way to read your reflection is not to ask whether you look old or young, but whether you look recovered. Look at your face on a morning after calm sleep, water, ordinary food, and daylight, then compare it with your face after stress, sun, and shortcuts. That difference is the ledger moving in real time, with some lines fading when life settles and others getting etched by repetition. The harsh bathroom light was never really the villain because it just removed the flattering delay. Your face is not a verdict, but it is a ledger and it rarely loses the receipts.